So I've used this Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra as my primary phone all of last year. And I think it was a great idea by Samsung to merge its two flagship lineups, the Samsung Galaxy Note series and the S Ultra series, to create the S22 Ultra with a built-in S Pen. In fact, the phone was so good that we awarded it the best phone of 2022 at our Trakin Tech Awards. And now we have the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, which I've used for the past week as my primary driver. And in this time with the phone, I'm genuinely impressed with the kind of tweaks that Samsung has made to perfect this S Ultra formula. In fact, I think long-time iPhone fans will also be tempted to switch to the S23 Ultra this year. And that's exactly what I'm going to explore in this video. If you don't know me yet, I'm Ershad, you're watching Trakin Tech English. Let's begin. So the unboxing experience for the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is the same as last year. You get a phone, you get a cable, you get a SIM ejector tool and a few pamphlets. But the thing to note is that the box is made of recycled plastic and it uses soy ink for printing, basically, building into that sustainable mission that Samsung has going for itself. Also what I wished would be sustainable, our subscriber growth. Please hit the subscribe button if you like our videos. It'll be of great help. Now, the design of the S23 Ultra has been slightly tweaked, and we've already mentioned it, is that it has flatter sides now, making it easier to grip. But let me know that it's slightly heavier now and the camera rings are also slightly thicker. Now, I don't mind the added heft because the weight distribution is absolutely fantastic, and the improved grip means that I don't need to use this metal ring holder with the Galaxy S23 Ultra now, because every single time I use the S22 Ultra, I had a feeling that it'll slip out of my hands. That's not happening with the S23 Ultra. It's a huge improvement in ergonomics, if you ask me. Now, there's also something about the industrial design of these phones that make them feel like, expensive pieces of jewelry as opposed to other flagship phones that I've used. Polished and meticulously designed glass and metal slabs is how I describe them. And then Samsung has that yearly exclusivity that it has going with Corning, that this year they've got Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2 for the very first time on any phone, and that's with the Samsung Galaxy S23 series. You get Victus 2 on the front and the back both. Now, I've used the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra for all of last year, and I've also used the iPhone 14 Pro to know for a fact that Victus is far better at scratch resistance because there are far fewer scratches on this phone compared to the ceramic shield on my iPhone 14 Pro. I'll definitely use the S23 Ultra without a case and a screen protector to see if Victus 2 is also as strong and scratch resistant. It's held up really well for now. Now, the green color of the S23 Ultra is its hero color this year, and it definitely does look attractive. Green seems to be in trend in 2023. But I have a soft spot for this burgundy with the S22 Ultra that we got. Now, if I had to buy the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, I'd probably go to Samsung shop and pick up the red with black color accents that you get. It looks really cool. Now, one of the side effects of flattening the sides is that the curvature of the display has been further reduced now. Now, since I'm a fan of flat panels, I actually like the reduced curvature because that helps with gaming and also, far fewer ghost touches as well. By the way, the Samsung display continues to be gorgeous. It's bright, it's colorful, and it's very detailed. And the brightness can now touch 1750 nits of peak brightness when you're watching HDR content. But one thing that I am slightly disappointed by is the fact that you do not get Dolby Vision support on this phone. Now, you do get Dolby Vision support on Xiaomi, OnePlus, and iPhones. I would have liked it on the Samsung as well. But Samsung has support for HDR10 Plus, and HDR content looks absolutely fantastic because between HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision on this small screen, you can't really tell the difference. And HDR10 Plus support is available on both Netflix and Prime. And fun fact, HDR10 Plus is actually a Samsung standard. By now, you all know that Samsung has a special partnership with Qualcomm this year, which means that Qualcomm's flagship chip, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, has been tweaked slightly for Galaxy smartphones. Now, what that means is faster CPU, faster GPU, and better AI tweaks for camera enhancements. Now, my issue with that higher clock core was that would performance be throttled and would the phone heat up? Well, thankfully, not. The phone runs stable, and in our 40-core 30-minute CPU throttle test, we got a stability of 84%, which is on the higher side. We also got the highest single-core score in Geekbench among every single Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 phone out there. Also, there's a larger vapor cooling chamber now, which means you can get sustained peak performance for longer durations. So I played a lot of Call of Duty Mobile because Apex Legends is no more, and I'm really sad about it. But Call of Duty runs at 90 FPS on this phone, and I consistently got anywhere between between 85 to 90 FPS in the 45-minute session that I had on the phone, and the phone didn't heat up at all. At max, it must have touched 40 degrees. That's very good thermal efficiency in daily gaming experiences, and Samsung has nailed it this time around. The biggest difference, however, is that there were micro stutters in animation when you were opening and minimizing apps on the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra with One UI 5.0. All of that is gone now, vanished. Poof. This is also mainly due to the software optimization that Samsung has done with One UI 5.1. You can take a look at the difference for yourself. It's very evident. Everything feels fast and smooth now. Wait a minute. Doesn't that sound like a tagline for another phone brand? Guess which one in the comment section below. But if you're wondering if older Samsung phones like the Galaxy S22 Ultra, S21 Ultra with One UI 5.1, if you will get these kind of performance enhancements, I am not so sure as of now. We'll have to wait and watch, but the moment I get to know that the speed has improved, I'll definitely let you guys know in a pinned comment below. All things considered, the S23 Ultra is the best performing Samsung phone that I've used in a long time. I'm really happy. Now, the other advantage of this really good performance tuning is that you get great power efficiency as well. I've had two proper runs where I drained the battery from 100 to 0, and the first time I actually ran it at QHD plus resolution, 120Hz refresh rate, and always on display set to on at all times, and I got a screen on time of 6 hours, which is pretty good. And the second time I ran it at FHD plus resolution, 120Hz refresh rate, and always on set to tap to display, and I got a screen on time of 7 hours. Honestly, this is a good start, but I've got to test it slightly more to see if that battery life statistics stays. By the way, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra also supports 45-watt fast charging using a PPS, enabled charger. I don't have one right now. I've ordered for one. The moment it comes, I'll test it out and see how long it takes to charge from 0 to 100. But I did charge it with a 25-watt charger, and it takes about 1 hour and 22 minutes. Now, in the week that I've spent with the S23 Ultra, I really wanted to test the cameras, but the performance was so good that I got slightly distracted. So I am working on a detailed camera comparison of the S23 Ultra against the S22 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro. So stay tuned for that one, and of course, subscribe. But I did shoot a little bit with the phone, and this is what I noticed. Firstly, the primary camera is much sharper now. The new 200 megapixel ISOCELL HP2 sensor is really coming in handy. The phone does take a second to capture the image and process it in post, so that is something that you have to keep in mind. Therefore, capturing moving subjects can be slightly tricky. By the way, you can use the camera assistant module from Goodlock to prioritize shooting speed for faster captures, so that's a workaround. But when you get a crisp shot, the Galaxy S23 Ultra just shines, especially when shooting people, and portraits just looks stunning as usual. And when it comes to low light shots, or nightography as Samsung likes to call it, I definitely see a lot of improvements, especially lower noise levels and better control over bright sources of light. Even night videography seems to have improved with a far reduced level of noise. Now, how it compares to the iPhone is something that I'll have to check, so stay tuned. Telephotos continues to be super impressive with improved sharpness levels at 3x and 10x optical level zooms, and even at 30x you can get a usable image, which is always true for Samsung Galaxy S Ultra series phones. And you can trust Samsung to capture the best moon photos too. I did capture a few, and it looks really good. Ultra wide angle camera is pretty great too, and the camera actually automatically switches to the macro mode when you get close to a subject. The biggest upgrade, however, is in selfies. Samsung took the right call by switching the 40MP camera with a 12 megapixel one and using the power of AI to improve performance, because the sharpness levels have gone through the roof now, and the low light selfies especially look absolutely stunning. I think this is primed to be the best selfie camera phone out there. Clearly, the camera performance seems to have been improved quite a bit, and a good chunk of the credit goes to the AI tuning that Samsung does very closely with Qualcomm's ISP as well. Now, remember how I mentioned that even iPhone users would want to switch entirely to the S23 Ultra this year, and there's a reason for it. Now, that's because I'm also an iPhone user, and I've used the S22 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro side by side, but I'm hesitant to move entirely to the S22 Ultra because of those micro stutters in animations, and the smoothness that you want with everyday usage was not present, which is there on the iPhone 14 Pro. That has changed with the S23 Ultra, and this year I might just make an entire switch over to Android. Hashtag Team Android. Everything seems to be good about this phone, right? But it comes at a price. Because this year, the S23 Ultra's prices have gone up and it's rupees 15,000 more than the launch price of the S22 Ultra. So yeah, if you want the absolute best Android flagship, which doesn't skip a beat, you will have to fork out that kind of money. Having said that, if you do want to pre-order the Galaxy S23 Ultra right now, you will get a lot of benefits, including the fact that you get rupees 8,000 off on certain bank credit cards. And you also get discounts on certain ecosystem products like the Galaxy Watch and the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro, where you can get them for cheaper when you buy the S23 Ultra. Additionally, Samsung has also added a bunch of EMI-based offers along with Samsung's very own Samsung's Finance Plus scheme as well. Now, I'm saying all of this because, you know, the Galaxy S23 Ultra is an aspirational phone and a lot of folks would want to buy it, and therefore it becomes easier for them to consider buying one with all of these easy buying options. In fact, Samsung says that this year the Galaxy S23 series has had 140,000 pre-orders, which is higher than the Galaxy S22 series pre-order numbers. And the average ASP is 1 lakh rupees, which means that more people are actually pre-ordering the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Well, why wouldn't they? Because it's great. If you want the absolute best Android flagship out there, you can definitely consider this. My detailed review of the Galaxy S23 Ultra is coming soon along with the camera comparison. So stay tuned for that one, and I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Until the next video, keep tracking and stay safe.